안녕하세요. Welcome to Gyeong-sun's Korean class. Today we will learn about numbers. Okay, so basically there are two sets of numbers in Korean language. So they are namely the Native Korean numbers and the Sino-Korean numbers, which is numbers that have the corresponding Hanja or the Chinese character. Okay, first of all, let's have a look on the Native Korean numbers. Okay, so I believe from 1 to 5 you might be already familiar with. Okay, let's see for number 1 until 10. Okay, so 1, it is called Hana. Okay, Hana, which is 1, and 2 is 둘. Okay, 둘, and 3 is set. Okay, and 4 is net, and 5 is 다섯. Okay, and number 6 is 여섯, and number 7 일곱, and number 8 여덟. Okay, and number 9 아홉, and number 10 열. Okay, so basically you might be wondering what are the differences between these two sets of number, like when do you use this and when do you use the Sino number. Okay, I have summarized them here for you. Basically you use these Native Korean numbers when you are describing age, hours, and doing some counting on general items. Okay, so of course after 11 we have more numbers to say, but we can see that okay, so let's see some example here. So age, right? Age, for example, 22 years old. Okay, how do you say 22 years old? So I only say there is only until 10 here, but for 20 it is 스물. Okay, 스물 is 20. So 22 is 스물둘. Okay, 스물둘. But when you are counting, you remove. Okay, let me write them out. 스물둘 is 22. Okay, but when you are counting something, like you are saying the age, right? So 스물둘. Okay, wait, let me finish. 살 is the age, right? So when you are counting, when you have some unit here, this is the unit, which is the age, you remove this last consonant here, so it's 스물두. Okay, it's like when you want to say there are two. Okay, when you want to say two each, right? There are two, so 두 개. 개 is the unit, it's the general unit, like each, right? There are two. Okay, two. You don't say 둘개. It's not 둘개 but 두개. Okay, and yeah, so basically when you want to say your age, it's just 스물두살. Okay, for example, if you are 14 years old, okay, so your is 10, right? Your net. So remember this last consonant, which we didn't write them, so it's 열네살. Okay, 열네살. So this is for you to describe age. Okay, and the next one is hour, which is time. So for example, you want to say it's 3 o'clock, so it's 3시. You see, it's the same way. We do not write 셋시. Okay, we remove the consonant, so it's 3시. Okay, for example, it's 8 o'clock. Okay, if it's 8 o'clock, you say 8시. Okay, this is 8시. Okay, so you might be wondering, why do we write the full one? Because this only apply until 4. Okay, so 둘 become two, 셋 becomes 셋, 세. Okay, 넷 becomes 네. Okay, is that clear? Okay, and then the last one, general items. Okay, before that, so you see that it is hour, right? But how about minutes? In minutes, we do not count them in native, but we count them in Sino numbers. So let me explain it later on. Okay, so for counting general items, for example, 1 each, 2 each. Okay, 한 개. So for 1, we say 한. So we add niun at the bottom. We add an n. Okay, an n at the bottom. So 한. From hana, when you are counting, it becomes 한. Okay, 한 개. So for two, this is 1, this is 2. 두 개, you remove the L. Okay, 두 개. And 세 명, 3 people. Remember, we removed the last consonant. So 세 명, 3. And 네 마리. Okay, 마리. What is 마리? This is the unit for animal. Okay, so you count, like, for example, 1 puppy, 2 puppy, 3 puppy, right? So for example, there are 4 puppies. So 네 마리. Okay, 강아지 네 마리. So 네. So the S we remove. 네 마리. This is for animal. Okay, the unit. Okay, and let's see for Sino-Korean numbers. So basically, for Sino-Korean numbers, they have the corresponding hanja. Okay, hanja, which is the Chinese character. Okay, so if you are familiar with Chinese language, you might find it very similar to the pronunciation when you are counting in Chinese, basically. Okay, let's see. 1 is called 일. Okay, and 2 is 이. And number 3 is 삼. 4 is 사. So basically, when you count, when you say 2 and 4, usually you can drag a little bit. Okay, this is just to prevent some mispronounce in terms of the number. Okay, because you can see 일 and 이 is kind of very similar, right? So when you say 2, you say 이. You drag a little bit so people know, okay, it's not 1 for sure, it's 2. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 you can drag. Okay, 4. Number 5 is 오. Number 6, 6. Number 7, 7. Number 8, 8. Number 9, 9. And 10 is 10. So actually, Sino numbers are actually easier compared to the native Korean numbers. Why? Because when you want to say 20, 30, 40, 50, even until 90, it's very simple. You just combine. How you say 2? You say 이, right? 이. And then is sheep. So 이 sheep. And 30, you just, what is 3? It's 삼. So 삼, and 10 is sheep. Basically, it's just as simple as this. Like, okay, 90. What is 9? Is 구, right? What is 10? Sheep. So it's the same logic. It's very simple. But then for the native Korean numbers, it's different. It's called differently for 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay? If you would like to learn about this, please comment and I will make another video to explain the native Korean numbers in more detail. Okay? Okay, next, let's see when do we use this Sino number. Okay? The first one, when you are saying the minutes for the time, right? Like I mentioned, it's, for example, 30 minutes. 30분. Okay, 30분. 분 is minutes. Okay. So basically, how do you say 3:30? So how do you say? It's 3시 30분, right? 3시. This is native Korean number. 30, it's Sino number. So for hour, 시 is the hour. 분 is the minute. Okay. So we use two separate sets of number for time, basically. Okay, 3시 30분. You can do lots of practice for time. For example, okay, how about 9:45? Okay, 9:45. 9. How do you count 9 in native Korean number? 아홉, right? 아홉 시 45. How do you say 4? 4. Okay, 40. 40. 40 is 40, right? 5 is 5. 45분. Okay? 9시 45분. This is a native number. This is Sino number. Okay? And same goes for dates. Okay? 1월 2일. Okay. One good thing about dates is that the whole sets are using the Sino number. Okay, for example, January. So basically, if you can count from 1 all the way to 12, you can say January until December, basically, because you can say January is 1. Okay, 1, you add 월. 월 actually means the month, or actually it means the moon in the Chinese character, the hanja. Okay, but it's okay, you just know them as month. Okay, so 1월 is January, and in the same way, February is 2월, and following the same pattern, we can get to December, which is 12월. Okay, 12 is 12. Okay, so you can say all the months here. So for example, 2nd of January. Okay, 1월, January, 2일. 1 is day, 월 is month. Okay, so you can just use all the Sino numbers for the day and the month. Okay, and the third situation is money. So because as you know, especially if you are living in Korea, the currency number is very big, right? For example, 1,000 won. So 1,000 in Korean language is actually 천. Okay, this is actually from Sino number, but it's okay. It's the same for both sets of number. 천 is 1,000. Okay, 1,000. So 천 won. Won is the Korean currency unit, right? So 천 won, 1,000 won. Okay, and then the last one, phone numbers. Because imagine if you were to use the native Korean number to read the whole sets of phone number, it would be very difficult. So it's easier, way easier, to just read them through when you are reading the phone number. Okay? So let's see the summary of the situation. When do you use which? Okay, first one, H. Do you still remember? For H, what set of number do we use? Yes, we use native Korean number, 20살. Okay, so basically, 20 is 20, right? So in the same way, the real is been removed. Okay, this is 20, and for Sino-Korean number, it's less common, but sometimes we do use. Why? Because, like I told you, as the number gets bigger, it's more difficult to remember them. Because, especially after 40, 50, 60, sometimes we just say, for example, 88 years old. Instead of saying 88살, it's too long. We just say 88세. Okay? 세 is also the unit for age, but it's when you combine it when you are using Sino-Korean number. Okay, but that's a bit advanced for now. Okay, you just for now just keep it with this rule. Okay, and the next one, hour. So let's say it's 2 o'clock. For all the time, always, it's using the native Korean number 2시. We don't say 2시. Okay, the Sino-Korean number is only for minutes. Okay, 30분, 30 minutes. Okay, and last one, not the last one, second last, for money, we always use Sino number as well, because you are basically reading out the numbers. Okay, and last is counting people. For basically not just counting people, but when you're counting in general, you use native Korean number, 3명. So imagine, okay, one trick here, one tip I can give you here is that imagine you are doing some counting. You can count 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, and so on. Okay, imagine you are doing counting. That's why you use the native Korean numbers. But when you are reading, okay, so let me summarize them. So counting, native Korean number. But when you are reading, generally you are reading some number, you use Sino number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, for example, you are reading some phone number. 010에. Yeah, that's why you heard people say 0. Yeah, by the way, 0 is 0. Okay? 0. So 010에 blah blah blah. Okay? Because you have so many numbers to read. Okay? So I hope it's clear for you. And if you have any question regarding the numbers, please comment down and don't forget to subscribe. 감사합니다.